They are still there. And we have to respect the laws of the republic. When I was in power, when they told me that no, this is a steady position, you cannot move the person until the 10 years expire. So be it, that's the law. We have to the law. So I hope that the government will take heed. It's important to respect the law of the republic. We got democracy period. So we don't respect the law. All we look for is to respect the law. And now what we did. Looking at those common people, the common people are losing their jobs and period meetings as well. Not just the any position holders. They are the ones that feel the thing to the law. They got nothing. Maybe when you we were in a position before. If you control people that have the minimum, and somebody comes to power and believe that because they are associated with other people, they have to be taking on jobs. This is very bad. That's not good. No leader can do that. You know, everyone thinking that your honor and that job. You need government, the government that come to power that came to rescue cannot even. Wrong. We know that. You know, but again, the is the most important. It's the most important, and that's why we in the corner of the law. You know, this is wrong. People support that the unity party and keep the power and left them there. And these are citizens in the country. But you can employ a Senegalese man and you refuse to employ a Liberian. Is that what it is?
Let me say what's up to all of you wherever is joining us tonight right on this day, and we are grateful to the Almighty God that we are here beaming with life and out of good health. And no matter what the circumstances are, we are certainly getting there. And sorry that we have to come on a bit late. It's due to some challenges that we try to work on. Remember, technology has its own way of dictating, and to people as to what you need to do, and it's too abrupt, and it happened on an abrupt note. So we are grateful to the Almighty God for everything, and with God, all things are possible. And we can tell you that things are going to work out, and there's no time that we ever want to give an inch for a day away, especially from doing the people's work. This is about you, and will always be about you. And we are grateful to the Almighty God for the strength He gives us on a daily basis. And we thank you also for your prayers you continue to offer for us. And we are forever grateful. So whether you go up, you come down, whichever way it is, we are here, and we'll continue to be here for the sake of our country, and we are going to work together for the good of our country. So we are very grateful to God. Let me try to get some feeds from you. From feeds from you, because we're having some challenge, and so I'm using a different gadget from our original gadget that all of us will always use, and so I'm using a different one, and that's why you will not get us as you used to get us. So we are working together for the sake of our country, and no matter what the circumstances are, we are getting there. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. And We think with God all things are possible, and we'll continue to work out for the good of our country. And we will work it out. I hope you are getting me. I'm seeing a lot of students and I online and they're thinking that we're not going to make it. We have to make it. It doesn't matter what it is. Please try to bear with us tonight. And for the offline students, yes, you will get what you ought to get, except the online students, they will hear some squeaks in the back. And I think it's due to some challenge that we face with currently. But it could be solved before the end of the program. But time is fast spent, and we are here together doing everything we can. And of course, Montreal Stevens and the rest of the other folks. We are happy that we are here together to do exactly as we ought to do for the sake of our country. We are forever grateful to the Almighty God for everything. Well, tonight we are here, and today serves another important day again, and we are getting there. Things are not normal anymore in this country, and terrible things are happening. I think there's a curse on this country currently, where abnormal things are just happening, things that you could not see happening normally. They are now just happening. By the way, it's God. Let me say also to all of you, those of you who are out there, your life is important, your welfare is important, your livelihood is very important. So the cash giveaway continues until the Tuesday. *7 and *24# is the code you can play with. I will automatically do the draws and send it out to you. So the moment you play out, I just send the draws out to you. I think we have about 15% that we're supposed to be giving out. So we'll do the draws and send it out to you. And of course, the newest game, I know many of you calling out there getting the scratch cards, and I at the floor center, and I AR songs, and the floor business center, AR songs, and the rest of the other areas. But whichever way to go, the good news part of it is that whenever you scratch and then you didn't win, you gotta wait. Especially the draw moment, you gotta wait because the information on that card, there is a number on that card, and there's a phone number there, that's a WhatsApp number. So that WhatsApp number, you need to give your information with it, and it will automatically enter the draw as well. So every Saturday there will be a draw held, and then 1,000 will be given out. So if even you scratch, because some people are winning $1, $2, $10, and people are winning already. People are winning with the scratch cards already. So I think it will be very good that you do that. I wanted to display something, but the kind of machine we're using now is not what it is. So our game partners, and I can't get that much from us tonight. So you will be able to get it, and a lot of people out there. So you go to all the vendors, meaning the scratch card dealers, ask them, say, do you have Fortune scratch card here? Fortune scratch card, I want to get my Fortune. You know, Fortune means wealth, right? I want to get my Fortune. Fortune means wealth. So you can ask that question, do you have a Fortune scratch card here? Liberty Fortune, anyway, that's the name. So Liberty Fortune is the name. So you just say, I want Liberty Fortune scratch card, right? So you got to scratch it, and then whatever you get there is yours. So there are a lot of things that are there, goodies there that you'll be able to win. And if you don't win, you keep your card, get the information, even if you are not literate. I mean, if you can read and write. Your child said is that then the normal are there will be able to WhatsApp it to the people. Automatically, they will give you response, and then you will see that they will take that information and put it automatically into the draws. All right? And but you got to send that information. You have to send that information so that they stock it in. Because they don't know whether you have bought a card. Right? So the moment you enter the WhatsApp system, then they will know that that card has already been bought and used. That's how they will know it. So you got to just effect it that way. That's how it works, right? That's why they are working. So while you are playing your cash giveaway as well, fantastic game that you have gotten several other evidence and pieces of evidence from, and several of you are doing your businesses today out of it. And of course, we are staying here. And so Abraham Jack said, I don't know the card. You know the card. Just ask the guys, right? So anything you win from there, you go to the BNB. They got a BNB booth, and then you will see them. So you just go there straight and say, no, this is it. I won. This is what I want. And I came from a morning, and they will be able to give you that. Right? So the ones that have to do with receiving at the shop or at their central office, right to 3rd Street right here. And that's 2nd Street, yeah, 2nd Street right here. You just get there, render your Salvation Army, and then they will be able to do that. So Saturday is the draw for the second chance. Meaning, if you went scratch and you didn't win, just pump your information in, right? And the only way they will know that you already bought that and you are a second chance person, right? But if you won already, no issue. You don't want to just go straight with your card in your hand. Tell your jack out there so that you have it and then you can go for it. But anyway, thanks so much to all of you. And we are very grateful to the Almighty God that we are here and we are sharing with you life. And we are grateful. Liberia is at a crossroad. I think Joseph Boaga is a demon for division and disintegration. That's just who he is. You know, it depends the kind of spirit you put on top of it. So when you put a blessed person over the nation becomes blessed. If you put a cursed person over a nation, the nation becomes cursed. Because the decision for that person to get it, it was your decision. Except that the person imposed him or herself on you, then go and say, no, my people cannot suffer this. But if you willingly decided to put that person ahead of you, then God will now say, this is what you bought for yourself, and this is what you love for yourself. You see, God does not impose things on people. Right? God does not. God does not and will never ever impose anything. That's why you see God gave you free will. If God wanted to impose things, you see anyone welcome to go, anyone want to go. Right? When God wants to collect everybody and do this, you think, you're coming to go. You're not going to be real with God forever. No, but God does not do that. God gave you free will because He doesn't want to seem like He's forcing you to love Him. He's forcing you to be committed to Him. He's forcing you. He wants free will. That's that same free will test that He used with our Job. Because when Satan passed all around, He asked Satan, He said, "Oh, you've been passing all around, you saw my servant Job." He said, "But that man, you only your servant here because you are still blessing him. Because you are still making a man wealthy. That's all." God said, "Well, I gave you the freedom. Go there and test him. I don't have to force him anything. The man is committed and loyal to me because he believes in me." That's what God told Satan. So Satan said, when you take away all the things from your watch, Job didn't know anything about it. Job was tested in his own absence. There's one test you take that you have no idea that there's a test that you are taking. Job took that test. You didn't have any idea that it was a test, but you took it. Like all of us who will have, the teacher will tell us that you come in to take test, when you come and get prepared. No, he was not told that there was going to be a test, but he was going through a test. And for every moment no time came, he passed. And he saw like it was normal thing that was happening. That's how Job felt. So he saw it. He knew that his commitment is everything, and that's what it is. So God did not force Job to say, "Look, be committed to me, be loyal to me." No, God didn't say that. And that's God. That's what God does all of the time. He will never ever force anybody. It's at your free will. So God will not force anybody. So you see, except there is an imposition on you, then God comes to your aid. But when you brought something upon yourself, what do you expect God to do? What do you really expect God to do? The same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden. They finished eating the son, God asked question why they want you, and everybody wants to eat it. God said, "You're not free for it, you're not forced." When the serpent came to you, when the serpent came to you and told you SYC, you heard it, you knew, you had an option to object. So that agree, you Adam too. Even if Eve came to you and told you, say, whatever it is, and you say that the woman I gave me, you also had an option. You had a choice to say, "No, I can't take this." So every one of y'all had a choice. That's why God didn't free anybody. Everyone was guilty of disobedience. God does not force anybody. He leaves you with your free will. But one thing God does all the time, He provides guidance. The word guidance is not there to stop you. The word guidance is there as a face to guide you. It's not there to stop you. You can tell me, say, "Hey, don't sleep in this here yet. Are you stopping me from sleeping there?" No, you're only guiding me that don't sleep there. You see that it will happen. But I can choose to go sleep there. And what is supposed to happen will happen to me. It's my choice to go there. So those are some of the things that we don't understand. God does not. So what is upon us now? There is a demon forward over the country. To the extent that God is making even people who are supposed to scare away the demon not to do anything. Because you must suffer the consequences of your decision and appreciate God. When God is alive and is doing something in your life, you will get to appreciate it by virtue of that. And that's where you got to now be careful, because good people will go bad. Good people will go bad. So everyone else going bad, except for some of you who God has a special telling for. God said, no, with all these things are happening, I can't use my good people to be part of this punishment. No. God will use the weak vessels, the wicked ones, and the weak vessels, and God will use them. People that you think have integrity or interpreted institutions that you think. Why you think most of your pastors and your pastors in the country to be? Because the demon inside them. When God is ready to perform, God will use them. God is not with them, so God will use them so that they themselves, they are destroyed alone, because God wants to expose them. That's what God does all of the time. God wants to expose them, so He will use them. That you will make mockery out of them, because it's often said about their fruits you will know them, right? You have never seen any fruit from them here. God is saying these sheep's wolves clothing that are here, we are going to deal with them. Now, I'm not going to use my good people to come ruin their reputation. No. I'm not going to use my good people. No. I'm going to use the terrible ones that have been appearing fake and acting that they are men of God, women of God, that the one I will use. The men who say they have integrity against that are the people I'm using. So you see, people like us, we are being distinguished. God is setting us aside. There is a movement in this country that God is working on. And God is setting all of us aside. And we have been set aside. We have been set aside. Whether you like it or not, we have been set aside. And God is using that movement to vindicate some of you. God will separate us. God will separate you. You will see yourself. That you will sit and say, so all this says, yeah, look, these are the bundle. In fact, sometimes you will even want to ask God, say, God, we need more. We need to know more, because I don't think 6 years is enough. But we have already gone 1 year and a half. The entire country, almost the people you talk about, Google people, they are already gone. They finished. We've just gone 1 year, and next May here, we'll be on 5, right? Yeah, May. So we just gone 1 year, 5 more. Okay, 4 months already. We just gone 1 year, and the people that, so before we read the 6th year, you'll see everybody will finish. Then God will now pick, because God said to His children, you know, when God kept the children of Israel in the wilderness, He kept them there for 40 years. And the purpose was that those people who doubted, that the promised land were being gotten, that no matter what the giants that were there, those people who doubted and discouraged other people, God said, all of y'all will die before my real people reach the promised land. So that 40 years that they were in the wilderness, there were people who were not supposed to reach the promised land. They died in the wilderness. The people who were supposed to reach the promised land, you know, the people who were supposed to reach the promised land, they reached. But at that time, the point that now, what's going on now in our country is the people who are not supposed to enter, you know, the Liberia of integrity, the Liberia of patriotism, the Liberia of nationalism. They are all dying now as we speak. On 6 years, all of them will die. You will not see them. They got to die. This movement is movement. No, sometimes you want to say, oh no. God is using this movement to clean this nation of the people that you are used to be calling man of God, woman of God, or integrated institution, or the other person here, you put your hair on the chopping board. Some of us, we put our hair on people, chopping board, and nothing good coming from out of them today as we speak. But with God, all things are possible. And we don't have time. There are demons in the land. And the Unity Party folks and their supporters, I guess on some Unity Party people who themselves have sat and said, oh, the other nonsense that are going on, we're not part of it. Those are the chosen ones that God can say, look, God has said, look, if you can observe your ways, and as the 2 Chronicles, that one is 2 Chronicles, He said, if my people who are called by my name will observe their ways and change their ways. So those people, they are going to be liberated. So they are going to join people like us. And God is going to use them. And God is going to use them. Those people who are redeeming themselves and said, no, we supported this, but they were not the intent. What we are saying here, no, this is not what we're going for. So these people have redeemed themselves, and God will have consideration on them. They are repenting already. But those ones that choose to stay there, and they will stay there, they will be buried alone. They will die in the wilderness before we reach our promised land that God has given us. They will die. Interpreted wise, they will die. When I mean death, it's not real, what you call it, but interpreted wise, Because they will have no. What is life when you have no morals to speak to society anymore? Nobody has respect for you. What is that? So integrity wise, you are buried. You are nowhere to be seen. Because you back all the wrong things are happening. Nobody is speaking to the truth anymore. No. They're not able to be confronted. And these are some of the issues. And that's how the country is as we speak. But there are still men, and there will still be men, because there were still men, and there were still women, there were children who still crossed over to the promised land, despite the death of the doubting Thomases and in the wilderness. So you are going to reach the promised land. God is cleansing it. It is not easy. It's not going to be easy. The wilderness is not a place of joy. The wilderness is not a place of comfort. The promised land is the place of comfort, but you must cross the wilderness before you go to the promised land. And so we are going to the promised land. The land that our forefathers fought for. The land for which 250,000 of our Liberians, they died because they wanted to protect the peace, stability of our country. That land is where we are heading now. And maybe Joseph Walker may not be there with us in flesh and blood. Maybe he will. But I can assure you that even if he will, that land he will enter there as integrity, repair ready man. So you can see it clearly. By the way, with God, all things are possible. Right? With God, all things are possible. And everyone else seeing the wrong thing in this country, they are supporting it because of anger. But we don't have time because the country for all of us. Not for one person, it's for all of us. And all of us will be in this country. Look at what has happened. Every sector destroyed. Joseph Walker. They all make careless living a demon. Now when he says, when they say chakla demon, I don't know how they call that other demon, that demon of destruction, that demon of disunity. The moment it enters, finish. That's the demon that hovering over this nation as we speak. Good people gone bad. Some of you want to say spiritual. Yes, I want to understand and respect it 100%. But God is ready to perform. Yes. That's the spiritual component I see. Right? So you can see the demon. The man called in United Party scatter. The moment he took over United Party scatter, people just started leaving, flying all over the place. He took over the CPB scatter. He took over look at where Liberia is now. There are certain people that are just cursed. I don't care what you do. We are now having confusion among ourselves. People insulting the court. Then the worst of all is for the court's own agents today to sit down by themselves to say they're insulting the court. You see, this is where we are now. You see the chat rooms? They have made a war now to open between lawyers now. So we are now causing each other. You see how Joseph Walker demon can operate? So it now comes to the legal profession now. We are now insulting each other. We are saying all kinds of things to each other. We are disgracing each other, denigrating each other now. So you see where we are now. You see what has happened to us. You see what Joseph Walker has done to us now. You see what has happened to us now. Go in the chat rooms of the Bar Association. Just for the second of the bar. For me, I don't want to go to proud political alignment, whether the bar president was a Unity Party man before, or he contested on Unity Party ticket, or he's a Unity Party man. Every one of us here, as Liberians, as lawyers, we have political alignment. Most of us, we have political alignments. But that should not be the basis of defining us or right. So let's go deeper into what happened, how it happened. Now, I can recall vividly during the Kabila Jana removal. I always like to reference things. During the Kabila Jana removal, there were times that the bar stood up, and at that time it was under the leadership of Kewon Gongo. The bar released statements, and the bar talked about political interference and in the judiciary. And the bar took an aim at the Chief Justice to the vice president. And that which happened was something that the bar looked at the time. They said, look, the procedure and the method in which you are using here and there is not right. Because the Chief Justice was enforced and pressured to have attended or presided over the removal. They said, no, this was not supposed to happen. There were several applications that were made to the court, were denied. The bar took definite position. This is the first time, right? For the bar to take a definite position on issues that it thinks. Now, the bar was more interested in just starting the political aspect, and then at the same time, calling on the court to have upheld the rule of law in the Cabinet General. I know that one story. Then let's come to this one today that the bar has spoken. There are several things that have been happening. When the Justice Minister released his opinion on the issue, something that the Senate depended on heavily, and the executive decided to depend on to say, look, we'll do business with Richard Kum following the first December 6th ruling. We had said that we had hope that the Bar Association will release a clear statement. My junior brother, or Jeremiah Dugo, and Attorney Jeremiah Dugo, he really did well. And of course, an excellent opinion he read on that. And that is why he said the code didn't do. And of course, the code was ambiguous in all of these areas here and there, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those things were there. Now, the code needed to come clear. So, the Bar did not speak much of that. The Bar perhaps was more interested in the noise. And they said nothing. So this time, after the court's ruling, and days after opinions are coming from here and there, well, maybe it needed to take time for the Bar to convene, or the executive committee of the Bar to convene for them to come up with the position statement they came up with today. There will always be sides, and people have their own disagreements. And I will not be too clear enough to just share with you some of the names of people who are making opinions, because they are not coming public with it, and in some of our group chats or so forth here and there, but they are not coming close with it. So I will just try to just read it to you, so that and others are thanking the Bar president for that. And you know, everyone else divided in the country now. Liberia is heavily divided after the election, and Liberia is heavily divided. We know that. And it was obvious that instead of uniting the country will have been divided the more, because Bouaka has decided to take the path of division the most. So all the institutions now are going to be divided forever under Joseph Bouaka. And that's why it is. So the senior person whom I respect so much, and who are very supportive of the Vama, and like I do, and I also expressed this, and he said, this statement is sadly embarrassing. If we join politicians to argue that the Supreme Court is restrained from deciding the horse leadership crisis as a political question, we embody unregulated power here. So they say it's too embarrassing, because what we saw here is that the Bar is just playing, so as though people from the Bar were already telling people the Cooper crowd or telling people there on the other side, say, you say this, now why you need to say. So the Bar is still speaking the same way the politicians are talking. The Bar, now all the Bar there today, it validated the politicians. And one thing, I will even argue with one of my friends yesterday, the Bar had said that they want for the Supreme Court to reverse the decision in the spirit of stability or blah, blah, blah. And they said their call is simply based on what we term as public policy interest. Now, public policy, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I did all of those definitions and research. You know, when public policy comes up in law, public policy is secondary, but law comes first. Right? Law comes first. You look at the law, see the law, And that is what it is. You say, okay, don't the lawyer is like this, and that is what the law says is going to be what they call. But we believe that the SYC that we're trying to do here, if we don't take this action this way or that way, it will affect the general public. And that is what it is, right? Public policy. Right? Good. So the bar is saying that the Supreme Court decision we're supposed to have taken it on the basis of public policy. And that is the description of the court in their wisdom to have seen whether it necessitates public policy. And if you are saying that somebody should use their description, right? They say, look, in the wisdom of the court, now, this is opinion here. You can say that the court erred. You say the court, when you say the court erred, that means our own law now. So you say the court erred. Then the C bar is telling the court, I want for you to refresh your decision on the basis of public policy. Our call is based on public policy. What is public policy? We know it's a principle of law. We know that one. It's very much glaring. So you see the noise all over, and people are talking. I don't want to go too deep into all kinds of things, but you see, this life that we are living here, people don't know. That is it. So I said, public policy deals directly with equity and fairness. Right? So the court can set in equity. The judge can set in equity. The court can set in equity. The court will say, okay, do I know John Brown, you own the thing here, that you have been here for 3, 4, 5 years or so, 4 years there, but you stand on there, the man want to build it here, the door will know that I was going to get it here back to you, but looking at how the thing that the man do was setting equity. That's its fairness and equity. That's what it is. So public policy, public policy is as this, right? So public policy deals with equity and fairness. They say the courts may, that means it's discretional. The courts may invoke public policy to ensure fairness and equity in their decisions. They say may. It's not. They say may. So there are instances the court will look at. And the court can determine whether they want to invoke public policy. So let's take, for instance, the 2017 election. In some of our constitutional law class, where they're having those lectures, and some of the prof who really presided over that case, they begin to share with us some of the issues that unfolded in that ruling. So you saw that the Supreme Court's opinion, which of course Justice Janet just dissent, and he was a dissenter in our opinion. You saw it clearly, right? We know exactly fraud. Fraud. They said even the element of fraud, it kills off everything. Fishes all. But this time the court said, yeah, we saw fraud on this side, yeah, but the fraud not too big enough for us to overturn the election result. But we saw fraud. We have heard principles of law that talking about fraud. But what did the court consider at the time? If we were to overturn, looking at the time, right? Looking at the timing, everything they look at it for, oh yes, they won't happen, we'll have to get money again to overturn whole result. So the argument, that one the classroom lectures and things, the argument some of them were proper is that, look, we can't look at this thing and say, look, that is it, because the country will have to run. If we said it was able to conduct election again after all these things are happening, then we'll be going way to January. We'll be going, and the new government is supposed to sit. All the things that they look at it. Look at the issue of public policy. So they can invoke public policy and they will have a basis to pay around it and say, look, though the law says this, but they say, but let me ask the bar now, on what condition? When these people deliberately and intentionally decided from day one not to respect the court, how can the court invoke public policy? Especially, let's take for instance public policy, right? If the court can look at even the conduct of parties. They can look at conduct of parties. And the parties' conduct will have no injury or subordination to the court. If you have gross subordination to the court, disregard of the court, and you see that, look, the court anything that will do this here and there, then you decided to do that thing arrogant and do it and say the court will invoke public policy. How can the court invoke public policy when you arrogantly decided to address the court in that manner? They started insulting the court and we'll do whatever we want to do. And we are going to the court, we're not going for the court to say something that will please us. If every one of us as lawyers will go to the court and thinking that the court should say what should please us, at the end of the day, our clients are disrespecting the court. Tomorrow they have made substantial gain that maybe must have benefited their communities. So the court sit in public policy and say, look, listen, after you know that the guys have done that in total disregard of the court. How is that? That's the only case I saw there, though. No, they also acknowledge that Fonati is state speaker, but they say why the court now look at the issue of public policy because budget empires, the other thing is school fee have been paid, the health sector, the same thing. You were, oh gosh, this country. The same thing the politicians were saying out there. You put them without reject anything because they are said dependent. But you know, the Supreme, let me say the bar failed to understand that the court took actions that lie specifically in its purview. The opening of court, they didn't recognize the speaker. They didn't call him there. That was a message. The court made it clear. So if they deliberately continue into all of that, whatever it is you want the court to consider public policy on that, you think public policy can get covered or when the court feel disrespected or so forth, the court will say invoke public policy? It does not work like that. Because when you talk about equity and fairness, the court should not be seen as ones that is sitting there and being disrespected. Then you say equity and fairness. No. You can't say equity and fairness. Public policy interest. You can't say equity and fairness. You can't say that. These guys were arrogant to the court. They were disrespectful to the court. They did not care to seek any clarity from the court. Because they knew that maybe the bar and other people were supporting it along the way and telling them, say, you'll do it. You'll do it. And of course, when it comes up, we'll say public policy. The court supposed to add in public policy. The bar should not be seen like that. You see where we are now? You see why you have caused the bar? And you hear all the noise, oh, people will be castigating the bar, saying all kinds of things about the bar. That is not what it is. So if we are saying that clearly on the strength of public policy, that's how we ought to operate. We agree. Public policy. Right? Public policy. I'm defining our public policy. Then in what context? So you see that? In what context? Because they said me. Public policy is not mandatory. No. They called me. So you see where we are as a people. When we tell you somebody, just say that me, I don't want to go into their political thing. Vama was with this other person or with Unity Party or something. You know, I don't want to go into those kind of things. But his own clear statement is what I'm looking at. Though they try to dangle it around it, dangling all over the place about it. And let me read it again. This is from the Black Laws Dictionary. So they talk about what? The public policy talks about the issue of what? Equity and fairness. They say the court may invoke public policy to show fairness and equity in their decisions. For instance, they must set aside agreements or actions that will lead to an unjust enrichment of one party. Unjust enrichment of one party. Right? Set aside an action that will lead to an unjust enrichment of one party. So in this case, now, they were to invoke public policy. What is the unjust enrichment that is there? Which party is going to suffer or going to benefit from unjust enrichment? When they invoke public policy in this case, is it not who? Is it not Joseph Boakai? Because the issue of public policy is to be just, fair. Let's be fair. Right? So let's say let's be fair. So Joseph Boakai goes up, support Jeremiah Poon, they insult people, they beat people, they say we'll never ever follow the law that the Constitution put aside. The very Constitution that the court is supposed to protect and defend, they're supposed to interpret it. And these people sat down there and they disrespected that. If they have fallen directly in their own law, and then say, oh, that the horses rule here, then we can say, okay, they make their own rules, they can do that. Let's agree on that. But they want that the Constitution. Then you say the very court must look at these people insulting and tearing down the Constitution. All right. And you say the court must invoke public policy. That's what he said. You see some of the problems. And there's noise all over in the other people praising it. I know people will praise it. You know, this country is the word. That's the word. Even Satan gets supporters. So whether you like it or not, and you always have these things happening. Satan gets supporters, and everyone else have their own supporters. So all of us will continue to get supporters. But again, the same way they are able to come up and speak to the issues, we do have our right to speak to it and critique them. Because they themselves, they are saying that they're critiquing the court. But what they have done to the court, I don't think it was fair to the court. Yeah. I don't think they are fair to the court. These people, the bar sat down and saw how the court was being insulted day by day. They insulted these people, all the ambiguity, every politician all over ambiguity. In one way, you had expected the court to settle this issue. Or to say what? The court simply said that Fonati does not have the ability to conduct it, and Costa maintains position, but said that the man I just said as speaker, he's not speaker. That's all the court said. And the court went back to a same decision. What the bar is saying? The court did not say anything different. The court went back. What is the definite position that the court said yes, Fonati is a speaker, but we are not saying that Fonati can conduct section because it's left with the political aspect to settle. If it is so, we are saying that Rachel Kuhn is not speaker because lawfully he is not settling that. So Fonati is suffering from politics deficit, political deficit, while Rachel Kuhn don't may have the political, and capital on his side, but he is suffering from legal deficit. Rachel Kuhn needs to get the number, do the right thing and law. Fonati cover for him and politics is depending on now. It needs the political will to get that happening. By police being convinced to say that on him, that's the political will. So the breading of politics, it rests with Fonati. The breading of the law, it rests with Rachel Kuhn. So if Rachel Kuhn wants to invade into Fonati's territory, to politics, get the numbers. Get the numbers and then do the right thing, then you move on. Numbers are political games. But the law guarding numbers, the law bad by numbers, the law tell you what it is. The number must be this. For you to be speaker, you need majority vote. But for you to be removed as speaker, there are certain threshold it must be before you are removed. The law is clear on that. What a big deal. They say for you to be speaker, you need a majority vote. That one a political decision. So you're gonna be what they call Fonati won with I don't 32. I think 32 votes or something like that. Fonati won with that. But for you to remove him, no, we bring the legal aspect there now, in law. Which of course it will have to do with you exercising enough political strength to meet up with that law. That's all the court said. The court didn't tell you, say, oh, Fonati forced to go, they want them forced to go on Fonati. Did you see that in the court's ruling? No. So where did the bar come from? Eh? Where did the bar come from? The court did not tell people that you're forced to go on Fonati. The court only made it clear that our ruling, because the court was on an obligation to make that ruling, because there was an opinion that came from the executive that the guys were relying on and running the whole country. And that opinion was never debunked by the Liberia National Bar Association to say that, look, in the wake of all of this, why you came up with this opinion? The bar didn't speak to that. The bar didn't say, you don't have to depend on the Attorney General's opinion on that. It's a political issue. You didn't say that. The bar didn't come up to speak to that. The bar didn't say that. The bar sat down and the court was insulted day by day, day by day. They were insulting these people and saying ambiguous decision. People that collected money, the A on this side, the A on this side, so I want to left it like that. That's why the bar sat down and said, we have to be very fair to ourselves. So on our condition, people attacking the leadership of the bar. For me, I'm not going to go into the business of attacking whatever they were party before, because I know where we are already aligned us, and we'll not get time. Everybody want to tell me, say, as a lawyer and generally that your business, I agree 100%. I get nothing to do. I'm not a fake person in this country that will harm myself. I'm not. Now you have to be fake. You have to be saying, oh no, professional, you're acting like you're professional for here and there. But you're so you're terrible thing you're doing. I'm not like that. I'm a professional person and I'm professional. And my professionalism says that I must be clear with who I am and I'm speaking on the basis of integrity. I'm not fake. I'm not fake. I will be clear with you. I tell you, say, yes, along with these people, I supported this ideology because of XYZ. Is it a crime? Political association, is it a crime for me? No. We as lawyers, all of the lawyers, they have participated in elections before. Huh? So you see now, what is the big deal about it? So people must say that and be telling me all kind of things. No, I don't go for that. But you see, with God, all things are possible. And we will certainly get there. Whether you like it or not, we will get there. I've tried my best in this country and will be like this. But there are a lot of exchanges going on currently. The bad people, the talking. There will be other opinions that will come up after the bars. But I know the bars statement to the Supreme Court could be seen as an affront to the court and bringing the court into public disrepute as well. All they're asking the court for, we are calling on you on the basis of public policy. Because when you don't do this here and there, teacher salary then are being paid, blah, 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 all those things will reverse it, it will lead the country to calamity. But who told you say calamity will not come over? They tell you, say, wait, now they tell you leading the country to calamity already, chief. You know that calamity has been the country ever say a calamity coming to move. You know, Let me read a statement. Let me read that part. Let me read that part. This is what he said, right? It said if they don't reverse their stuff, then the country will be in calamity. Yeah. So that's why it is. It goes say calamity. You know calamity mean, right? I was say, you know, Boga is the calamity in chief. TS you're looking for, you're calling Boga all guys are today. Yeah. So you see there. So I think, and people are just on each other. The whole country divided now. You see why it's happening? That's Joseph Walker. That's the demon in Papi that he can be operating with. When a demon enter, he can get chocolate place. Now what can you do? Yeah. So what is it? Yeah, this is what it is. What is this stuff? About the political question. Because if you say the court should take the decision on the basis of that, then I say no, we can't go there. You acknowledge that Kofa is still speaker, right? Yeah, but the bar said that, and I think. Okay, very good. So they say here. Let me just say this. They just say here. So they say okay. He said here the NMDA as a critical institution responsible for the guardians of the state. For the guardians of the state. Let me get this thing clear. Okay, for the guardians of the state, calls on the Supreme Court to quickly move to avoid any calamity in Liberia. Yeah, any calamity in Liberia. Now listen, any calamity in Liberia, the impact of which will affect the stability of the country. That means the calamity will affect the stability of the country, right? They said they score. They're asking the court to revisit, right? They said they score. What does it do? Their score is against the background of preserving public policy interests. Where is that? Right? They say on the basis of public policy, the court should move. That's how they are calling on public policy. The court should see what is seen, and the court should prevent what is seen may happen. Now, why I just define for you what they call public policy, right? It's a doctrine law. It's a bigger principle. You can use that, and I said, and I lay down things that may exactly lead to that. So, but in itself, when the court is seeking equity and fairness, that means it's telling you, say the law is this, or this is what we can do. And that's what they are calling for. But there are instances where the court will not see itself being disrespected, and you expect the court to say in equity. It's not even fair to the very court. How would the court say in equity when the very court are being insulted by these people? You just see a group of people, all you're trying to do here is wrong president. Because if that thing allows today and it goes on, and then we allow it to go on, and Mr. LNPA president, Tomorrow, another government will come to power. It may be government that you may be comfortable with, and they are doing what they're doing. You're comfortable with, you may not see wrong. But tomorrow, another government will come to power and say, in the same thing happened the last time. The other man saying he won't be speaker like this. The other two will pass the budget and the Supreme Court people will hold it. Once they hold it straight, they will pass very in our favor. You see the kind of wrong precedent, dangerous precedent you want to set. Today may be comfortable because it's a government that maybe you have ties with, or you guys have ties with, I don't know, but it may be satisfactory to you today, but tomorrow, they're very bad. You say that there, you say, yeah, Fonatikopa is the speaker, but you wouldn't say that, I don't know why the code did wrong down there, I don't really know yet, because I have not explained anything yet. Because the code did not say they put them force to go on Fonati. The code said they reject me, you're passing around where here, he not speaker, Fonati is still speaker. So what if he did that in that thing? Because Richard Kwan be purporting himself to be speaker. And for a time when the state informed the court say, oh, when you pass over the thing, the justice minister when came out with opinion say according to the court. In fact, I want even necessitated these guys to carry that bit of information and inform the court that oh, there is another branch of government that have decided to sign with these people because they said that the man is a speaker as an interpretation again. Was it not necessary for the court to have come in? Let's stop those things, man. You know, they in the country. You know the country. Some of you know the position they will release in today. We are recording everything. All the posts that you're making. And see how they can go for the politician and they are post there and drag it or and bring it up. Just sit down there. You have been tweeting and what they call people recording and keep it. Tomorrow you will come out again. You want to speak to someone. They just go for a bra. They say you. This was your position the last time. What are you saying here today? What are you saying here today? So that's it right here on this die, and we are certainly getting there. And let's get to the lines. With your quarters. The country is divided now. Every institution is breaking apart. You gotta be strong to keep your marriages safe because you know that everything breaking now. So let's get to the lines. With your quarters right here on this die, and we are getting there. With God, all things are possible, and we will get there. And the lines, the full lines, will use. Will have to be ones that I can go through this, which I'm using. Yeah, let's hear from this person. Hello? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask about where were they when the court said Ottoman? The police explained to us the bill of Ottoman. Why the police explained to us the bar and the fact that he himself and the court officer proceeding to make that happen and to know that the law is the law.
Okay, that's the question. Where was the bar? That's the question. And I won't allow anybody that are denigrating our humble institution here tonight. Let's just ask the necessary questions, right? Which is very much important. That's your view. They have their views. You have your views. All of us have our views and how we look at the situation in the country. It is where we are. I got my view. They got their views. And that's why it is. We can ask the question as to where were they. Yeah, you can ask that question, which is your private. Hello, how are you doing? Hello? Yeah, hello, how are you doing? Please go on. Let's listen to you. Yeah, go ahead. No, that's a decision of the bar. They are in leadership, and whatever they do there is us that did it. So that's the decision of the bar. That's the position statement of the bar.
Okay, but then the political person of the bar, he did that. He was lawyer, and he knew the constitution. Okay, then the chief justice come home with a ruling for Ottoman, and I know that the other said the war Ottoman. This come around the bill of information when speak of proper, but for clarity, and the chief justice stood up and make it clear that with a biblical act that the majority block every home is illegal.
So, Malo. Yeah. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Simple, and it will help.
Okay.
At what point was this budget? Because all business and things talking about budget. So, at what point was this budget? Was the budget passed after the December ruling of the Supreme Court? Or it was passed
Hello?
Yeah.
The budget before the ruling.
Yeah.
The budget was passed before the ruling.
So the budget was passed before the ruling.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for following the talk.
It's, thank you. And how are you doing?
Yeah. Good evening.
Uh-huh.
So,
Mm.
this is
Yeah, we'll see.
thanks for the opportunity to appear on your show after a long period.
Well, that period, you know how it's been. You know what that period? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the essence of the show is to educate and inform the listeners.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so at I think of I don't pretend to be wrong.
Okay.
You people have their own understanding of legal matters.
Mm-hmm.
So in relation to the press conference of the president of the Bar Association, I wanted to understand as to whether there could be consultation or he just came out and spoke because he is president of the Bar.
No. My leadership. Mm-hmm. We have meetings, and of course, the majority will decide on the statement. Everybody has to agree with it, but the same way is democratic. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for the show.
Mm. All right, thanks so much. And quick talk, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, Evie, and
Yeah.
good afternoon to everybody.
Yeah.
Listening to the show from Alberta.
Yeah, go on.
Thank you so much, Evie, but Evie, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I understand that everybody will want to protect their profession, but it seems like the bar is trying to bring it the respect that people give to some people being for a lawyer or pastor. I mean, these are some of the reasons why our professionals, you waste the time, I will call it waste the time, because you take all your time, you go to school, you learn everything, but you still don't speak to things that you're supposed to speak, to truth that you're supposed to speak. You speak to things that will satisfy someone because you want something. I don't want to say they get it from someone, but it's because you're looking for someone, you want someone to be pleased with you. That has been our own thing coming from the Bible today. They're not looking for validation from the president or the vice president or someone up there. I don't want to accuse anybody of looking for a handout, but I will right now see to be. If you want to be a professional, go to school, learn it here, and speak to what you learned. I don't know how that respect for you for what you learned. So when you speak to someone, say, I will speak that yes. When you say, nothing bad in saying yes, to say yes and no need, no need, especially if you're doing the right thing.
You're right. You're right.
If the class doesn't be the one that does not respect the concern, what they wrote to their concern is different to the Supreme Court. What they expect from someone who are not going to law school? When the Supreme Court be one would say, anything will say to because you don't have to respect your process in that field. As a lawyer, you're watching the Supreme Court. So, whatever respect we don't go to law school or get the Supreme Court. You're supposed to upgrade the court, giving the respect is earned. So we would die here and look at this coming. When I get up there and I respect, I want it. We should pray for that respect. But you're not even making it voting for anything. Because you're making it voting to look at our winner. People can just speak to the court anyway. This is so much info. Thank you, everybody.
Twitter, we appreciate you. And let me speak to this caller quickly. How are you doing? Hello? Hello, let's hear from you. Hello?
Hello, Amy.
Please go ahead quickly.
Yeah, the particular thing the president said is not strange. I was accepting that. I accepted that. Yeah, because I was listening to all the rest. I was saying something. It was. I knew what they were coming from. I knew what they were going to do.
Okay.
It's strange.
All right.
That's something that they play. They strange.
Who the data planning now?
I listen. I say I was listening. I listened to lawyers talk.
Mm.
I say that's strange. I knew what was going to happen to that. Yeah. Right after that ruling, I listened to lawyers saying things. I felt discouraged.
Wow.
Yeah. I knew going to work like that. Thank you for this.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Joseph Boga, yeah, divine. We'll go train that. I know exactly where we'll go as a country. It's finished. You don't say you're going to finish this country. You finish it anywhere. So no problem. And what are you doing? Yeah. Yeah. From you.
This is Abraham calling from the United States.
Talk on a great to join us tonight.
Quite honestly, I understand you are part of, you are a member of the Bar Association, but I'm a bit disappointed in your address to the issue tonight.
Okay.
And here's why.
Okay.
The Bar Association, I think it was December 6th when the initial ruling came from the Supreme Court.
Yes, December 6th. Yeah, December 6th.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
When the issue about the ultra-virus came out, where was the Bar Association that they didn't take a stand or to give a position on the ultra-virus?
You're right.
Now, if they are coming out at this point in time, now that the Supreme Court, including the party litigant to the case, the top qualification for the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court indeed took the longest of time to give such qualification. It's only now that the Bar Association will come up with a position like this. For example, the KFC,
you're right. That's
you cannot export someone from the partisan nature of national pain.
Okay.
This man is a registered member of the military. You cannot trivialize that on the show.
No. I want to say that I want to infer that is the basis for which the decision was taken today. I know that. Yeah, I'm not saying that he did not. No, I'm not saying he did not. I know that he did, and the records are there. He did. The records are there. He contested, and he's somebody who aligns with the Unity Party, and whatever it is. That's not. Yeah, but I don't want to think that that's the basis for which. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. But let me do something. Until such can make identify for people to understand the purpose here. By the way, I know Vama. Okay, I'm not trying to attack him here.
Okay.
But to curtail the problem in the country, just like that kind of measure you have to take.
Okay.
There has to be a state of aid.
Okay.
Because if the ultra-virus came up, the virus was just an ultra-aware to help the problem. Now that there's a situation, and you're looking at the Supreme Court. One of the Supreme Court, that's telling the Supreme Court to go back because you're pressurizing them to go back and change their decision on the jurists. Anything else that also when they have said
right.
they will be classified as being on the jurists.
You're right.
This is a new future on this bench, and that people need to stand up to this kind of behavior. Never seen such behavior that I reported here.
You're right. No, you're right, Connor. Thank you so much. Great points. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, okay. You're most welcome. That's it. Mama, what's up? Yeah. Okay, go on.
So, follow the trend.
Yeah.
It was a coincidence, I was wondering why he was calling.
Yeah.
So, I understand that you are a lawyer, you have a responsibility to protect the image of the bar, but you can't take responsibility on behalf of the bar and the blunders the leadership.
Okay.
In as much as the bar deserves to be respected, respect is earned. It's not just given.
You're right.
The leadership of the bar has a responsibility to protect themselves or protect itself as a responsible leadership, not a partisan one.
You're right.
So what we are sensing, this bar is organization for criticism. We have criticized reputable institutions when it went wrong, and this bar must be criticized, must be called to order. And we are calling the bar to order. The president needs to resign. He has to decide whether he wants to serve his position and be neutral and follow the law, or he wants to be loyal to a political party that is the Unity Party. The Bar Association leadership, particularly the president, understands the law. When the Supreme Court came out with the ruling, people said it has some form of ambiguity. The ambiguity in the law or the interpretation was not for the legal people, but for the ordinary people who don't understand law. It was the responsibility of the bar to have come up and explain to the Liberian people what the Supreme Court meant, because they understood it clear. But they remained silent, they remained quiet, because it felt that it's against the executive. Now that the Supreme Court has been very emphatic, very clear about the ruling, and they want to come here and tell us that Supreme Court has absolutely no responsibility at this point. The responsibility lies solely on the Liberian people, like you said yesterday. We have to stand up for what is right.
Sure.
The law is the law, and the bar has a responsibility to stand up. So I am concluding on this note. I am disappointed in the Bar Association, particularly the leadership, and specifically the president. He is acting like a partisan. He should resign and wear the Unity Party jacket, because when he acts like a partisan, we will see him like a partisan. Even if I was a lawyer, it would lead to the suspension of my blessing. I will not
No, but you can't just.
Of course, because you can't do that.
Yeah,
you cannot lead a group of people. The law is not a political institution. If you want to be COS of President Barker, you can go in the office of President Barker. But that position he holds is not a United Party position, and we will not sit silently and watch him to make that place the United Party place. No, we're not going to allow that. So lawyers that are afraid and want to be cowards, and because they feel that they will receive their blessing, they can remain coward. But our opinion is that president will have to be his. He has to choose between his position and his partisan position. Thank you so very much.
Thanks so much, Mr. Sika. We appreciate it. And we get on your sorry, the sound quality may be a bit like a 12 gadget I'm using. And what are you doing?
Well, hello, well, as the manual instrument, different person want to keep a very condition of the other country.
Okay.
Well, the United Party government thing with the Liberian.
Okay.
Well, that's it. If you even call it justice, you can try to come and we can cooperate. But all we know one is that from them, we the citizens, we are supporting the speaker. And even the four iron gate, the level is 4 iron gate off. And we bought that iron gate, and our speaker is set to prepare the city library. And the people of the church, they're not really getting.
Thanks so much for your contribution. Bro, what's up? How's everything with my brother?
I'm very, very fine teaching.
I know, thank God.
But teacher, let me say something. I want to be corrected. Which part of earth, especially in a democratic nation, that the biggest lawyers association come together to condemn that Supreme Court ruling? I want you to give me one instance.
Okay.
I want to make that reason. From as far as I'm concerned, maybe I stand to be corrected that I brought it in my country have ever done that. Because the Supreme Court is like the association of lawyers in the country is like a backbone or support for the higher court of the country. So even when they disagree, they won't do it publicly.
So you think the bar is not politicians?
Anytime the Supreme Court rule in a bar that comprises of lawyers come out and critique or condemn the Supreme Court ruling, meaning you undermine the country justice system, and you even undermine yourself as a lawyer. Meaning
you're trying to tell the population, say, go to the Supreme Court bench and achieve this of the nation is not correct. Why are you telling the country? And why are you telling the country indirectly? So you're telling the country to go not correct.
And their reasoning was very cool. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Their reasonings were very cool. And they made mistake. Yeah, it's that.
Yes, in that place where you don't even respect any part of the government, that particular place should be respected because that's the last decision-making area for the country for people to seek justice. So even when they err, I want to give you an example in Ghana, the election that Nana Akufo-Addo won, the last election in Ghana. They went to court on that. And the Supreme Court ruled that Nana won. I'm not talking about them going to the election back Mama came back. The people went there, they all got the bar, they see where you get the bar, people went there, the bar will come up with a statement, the bar said, no, individual lawyer can come and do their discussion, but now the bar is supposed to come out and continue what the Supreme Court said. Because doing so is undermining the country. Now, if you look at the ruling there, if you look at the George thing and what have you, those are all Christians. When Jesus came in the world, Jesus read the Old Testament, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When Jesus was preaching, many people by then thought Jesus was going to condemn the Old Testament, but he said, no, I came to improve on what was said. That's why Jesus never condemned the Old Testament. He wanted the respect of the Lord that was displayed with the holy day. He never came to criticize the law. But guess what? Why are you feeling it when the other people get married to it? No, right now it will be people for you to marry one. He said the people who married to one thing were bad. That's why he said. So he was improving. That's the jealousy of respecting the law. Condemn the law. You can disagree, but you cannot condemn other people. The agreement should come from the association of the biggest law in the country. What I think so it's terrible for the country. They should never repeat that. It's a regret. That's what the thing in our country.
Okay.
They should stop that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Leading lawyers and agreements are flooding all over the place. And of course, our great lawyers are still disagreeing with the bar. Professor Dr. T. Johnson says, Mr. President of the National Bar Association position statement about the Supreme Court has effectively undermined the Supreme Court. First time for a bar to have ever done that. And of course, Ahmad of Bakuru County, the lawmaker of Bakuru County, he too also reads and of course writes on dissenting and of course disagreements with the bar's opinion and Attorney Ahmad Zulu Jara. And there are several others that will come up in defense of the court. And this is what the bar has done. And of course, the attention is now taken from the politicians now into the legal system. It is where it is now. I don't know who advised the bar to have done what they did. I don't know where that came from. But of course, backlashes will go on. They will get the praises from their folks. But again, a lot of things will come up. And that's bad. And what are you doing? Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, Councilor Well.
Anthony William, go ahead.
Anthony Well, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Pastor Emmanuel Cooper. I'm so very sad this evening in terms of what is unfolding in our country, even about this new ruling and the judiciary, which should be highly respected in our land, is getting to be compromised. Where the National Bar Association of Lagos and different things in our mind, says that righteousness is the foundation of God's job. So if a country,
yeah, go on, we're listening.
If a country that does not have a strong judiciary, then there is no law in the country. Because even when Jesus asked yesterday, the pastor one night was the Palm Sunday, Jesus was looking for Palm. That's wrong. So if a country does not have a strong judiciary to interpret the law, understanding that God has governed the country,
Thank you. And of course, our group chats have and the vice president of fire and everyone else putting up. So he's trying into the political mud again. Yeah, some of the decisions you make, you gotta be careful. And why are you doing? Yeah, let's hear from you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not surprised at the car. I expected it from the car. You know, when Sarah went to have taken control over the train of business car, I was talking about the wilderness.
Yeah.
Can you imagine to the line, eh? It was so hard-headed. It was sent to the other girls, for the end of the ground. Can you imagine to the line? I want to know what I'm telling you. I'm not surprised. Because I know I believe in the good and the to have control. But I can increase the people and the first point of government. We will take by association. They are paying for the car. They will just pay for the other people to it. If you like, let us talk about the car, take it to the report, and then follow it to the university ticket. Folks can know that it's a university.
And I think, thank you. If I say, what about Saudi, man? See, coronavirus. That's where was the power? Coronavirus. And what are you doing? Yeah, fine. Yeah, let's hear from you, Edmond.
When the justice minister interpreted the Supreme Court ruling, some of us were saying, for the Supreme Court finally come down with their ruling, in the bill of information, and justice minister has to be suspended by the bar. But here we are today, our own attach. So we don't know where we are headed. This is the fight for that we're not the liquor mind with the illustration. What we do, when the police is done by the Supreme Court, anybody who has not satisfied with it, we still make it flat to a court state. But we see some people that we see people coming up to tell the people to retract their decision on the court to say the country for economic is a flat issue. We are opening in the community. Why is this up? That's a bad thing. Whatever, yeah. You didn't say anything about it. You didn't talk anything about it. When Supreme Court or having the long down waiting for hearing the bill of information. Our legal professional was speaking out. You didn't say anything to us. How many people are going into this? Who are the bill of information? You are asking to replace that decision before calamity. Calamity is already here because of the national. How are you guys spread out? Because you guys are so conflicted. You go to the council of judges, conflicted. You go to the Muslim community, conflicted. You go to the Donor Association, conflicted. Where are we headed? There's a serious problem in the thing. We don't know now who is headed to the country because the pressure to the like this. The energy is the one speaking. You are not speaking. You guys are not advocating journalism in the country. You guys are the ones that are speaking for the Nigerian people. They say, I said, you better. You say, I want about. You know, the passenger. We argue for the government and now you do this thing. You say, come on, it's getting flashy. What about this about good? What do we say? Anything back on here. I will be the type of you. I will shoot you to your head. This is getting terrible. What do people do? It's getting bad. People are getting walking away. You get to my own. You walk around the street. You walk around the street. Where are we headed? I feel like it's better in a very good direction. So, the communal concept to be sure that they just make it come back. So that you're so black eyed down and that is so
You're right. Okay. All right. So the WhatsApp calls are sorry there, and just for you to go to the feed, that's the problem. Eric SG. Yeah, I've been trying to teach you why you think we don't broaden came on. I've been sorry that. But tonight we have a different machine I'm using. Of course, our original is having some problem. I think the sound quality as well, you're getting some problem with it. So all we can say is we can just wish you all the best. But let me try to close on this note. You know, the Bar Association, what it did, I don't know what they are motivated them to do what it did, but it's very strange. The kind of way, especially each year about a political fight, where it is now a fight between the politicians and that of the judiciary, you jump on the politicians' side. Check. My first time seeing that one. Even the January removal something was not judiciary. Well, no, the judiciary was not there. No. The bar was saying that these politicians are doing wrong to undermine the judiciary because the action they were taking it was against justice on the bench. That was why the bar was in this. That was not the one bro, they were there. And that was why the fight was about. I was there supporting that well. You see that? It was not about a fight where you see Joseph Wakai on several occasions have disrespected the court on 10 positions. The bar said nothing. The bar said nothing. The bar looked at it and let it go. Oh, so when it comes to budget business now, what interest the budget, the bar getting budget? In what way does it harm or injure anybody? If Fonati were to be speaker today, you think Fonati are going to reverse most of the budget decisions, especially in the country? That one will be looked at differently. Right? So you think that is why now you are saying public policy now. You don't know that public policy can also apply outside of law? You think Fonati, if you were to come back as speaker, if Fonati want to deal with people for whatever it is they illegally did, they can go for COFA, they can go for it. You can't say everyone else will suffer it. So that excuse that give me a vague. It's useless. You can't use that for president. As a president, you can't use that. But there's nothing. That is where public policy will come to play. Because all the dealings people were having said, look, every other thing you were doing, no problem. We let it go because the country needed to run. But these people who cause it will deal with them. How the judge will solve the problem with the AFL or soya money? Right? What did he do? The judge administration paid, assumed the responsibility and said, you know what, the AFL people there, their money based on the talking, it was the previous government on which is happening, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president at that time. So we will pay that money, but Prani Samuka will account for it. So if Fonati were to even be speaker, that you talk about calamity, just I don't say find logic inside. That you talk about calamity, I don't find logic inside, Mr. President, sorry to say. But the issue is, if Fonati were to be speaker today, and until you people can see the thing and now CDC for the Unity Party thing, you know, just take these kind of things for them. Why you think, oh, that CDC will win, if Fonati is speaker, just take that thing from there. And let's look at it from the proper perspective. That we want to discourage people from doing these things in the future. If you allow this one go today, that's a vicious circle you always see. Do you want to see that? Are you happy with what has been happening? No. How do we cut it off? Is by allowing this to start? Appreciate your stance. With God, all things are possible. Some of us will continue to say what we can say. We don't owe it to anybody. But one thing is, I voted for him. And I have no regret for voting for him because he was a suitable candidate at that time.